Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It's Tuesday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the U.S. That's 17:15 Zulu on July 9th, 2024. And this is Tuesdays with DX Engineering. This is typically a show where we will have on some of the DX Engineering people that you might either email with or talk to on the phone. And today, we have DX Engineering team member Dave, K8 Delta Victor. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Tim, and everyone else out there watching the broadcast. Glad to be here today.
Dave, tell everybody where you're located.
I am located just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, about 25 miles northeast of downtown Cincinnati.
And for almost the last 4 years, you have been a part of the DX Engineering technical and sales team, and you've done it all remotely from down there near Cincinnati. How has your first 4 years gone?
Oh man, it has went by super fast. DX Engineering is just a company made up of great people, great resources, and our customer base has to be just one of the best out there as well. I mean, it's so far it has been nothing but an absolute positive experience.
Well, Dave, we are really proud to have you as one of the team members, and I know you have some specialties in the hobby. What would you say is one of those specialties that you have that you're able to help our customers with?
Probably HF operations, especially like anything on 40 and 20 meters, as well as DXing. DXing's a passion of mine, has been for many, many years, and dabble a little bit in contesting, but I wouldn't say that I've won a few, but I've lost many, as they say. But I enjoy all kinds of aspects of the hobby, whether it's, but my real passion is probably for HF operations, and that's what I really get excited about when guys on the phone and they want to know about what do I need to get on HF, and talk to them about that. That really because that's where we really need the activity is on the HF bands.
Well, yes, and certainly now with FT8 and FT4, there's a lot of opportunity for even small stations. And let's talk about a little bit about small stations, Dave. Here recently, you haven't had a Yagi antenna, and so how have you dealt with that?
Well, it's gave me great experience for dealing with our new customer bases and the new hams just getting started, because my whole ham career, I've had access to a Yagi or some kind of gain antenna until a couple years ago when I lost my tower and antenna and everything to a tornado, which we're trying to get back up and so forth. So I've been using a off-center fed dipo, and most of the time around 100 watts. So I've been one of those true guys that everybody talks about, 100 watts on a wire. And I think it's given me a lot of insight for helping guys that are just getting started with their 100-watt radio and a wire antenna, about techniques and operating and how the antenna should be put up and how to get the most out of the radio and stuff like that. So it's from that perspective, it's been very valuable.
Well, Dave, do you see your QRZ page?
I do.
Yes. So this is pretty impressive. If you take a look at all the awards through QRZ that you have, that is very impressive. And then why don't you talk for a minute about your dad shown here, KZ4G?
Yeah, that's my dad. Of course, he's my ham radio hero and my biggest mentor that got me started in the hobby. On the picture there on the left is my dad when he was operating. First time he'd ever got a chance to be the DX is ZF2LV, and then the other picture is I'm a little less than a year old there. And my dad told me that was him. He was checking his DX log. So being a DXer, I come by it natural and at a very young age.
And you talk on your QRZ page of K8 Delta Victor about losing the tower in the EF2 tornado, and hopefully this is going to be the year that you get the tower back up, right?
That is the goal, Tim. I'm in the process of trying to finish up all my permitting and all of that so I can get the hole dug and get some concrete poured with the goal of having something on the tower and operational by the time that the cold temperatures hit.
Well, that is certainly going to be a great project. And we know that you're going to have all DX engineering related components on the tower. So that'll be good. But it looks like you really enjoy multi-ops. Why don't you talk about that? Some of the guys, and of course, my good friend Jim here at W9VNE. It's great to that you've got a good relationship. Jim is a super guy.
Yeah, I met Jim several years ago. He used to do a DX lunch here around the Cincinnati area, like every 3 or 4 months. And I got invited to one of those, and Jim and I become pretty good friends through that, and still stay in contact pretty frequently. But the whole multi-op thing really came by for me as a total accident. You talking about getting an education in ham radio, that certainly did it, because small station, and wanted to do our mission set out. The whole purpose of that was to be able to win the Ohio QSO party as a multi-op station. And so we started, and several years it was about building the station and making improvements, and every year learning from what did we do, what worked well, what didn't work, to where we finally went on a run for, I think it was 5 years in a row that we won the Ohio QSO party as a multi-op. But then things started happening and people had other interests and so forth. And you know about multi-op stations better than anybody, Tim. They're a lot of work, but man, they sure can be rewarding when you get everybody together and have an operating event. And then that parlayed into us doing a multi-op station in Portable in Indiana, and we went over and won that QSO party for like 4 years in a row, and then did a multi-op single transmitter in Kentucky for several years in a row. And so I drug some of my friends along in some of these ham radio escapades, kicking and screaming, but at the end of the day, they all said they had a good time. So I guess they were successful.
That is the measure of success, is having a good time. I mean, it's nice to win, but it is the most important thing is to have a good time and maybe learn a few things and share things with your friends. I saw Jay K4ZLE, another one of the really good guys that I'm friends with in your multi-op pictures as well. Dave, I do want to recognize people in the chat room. We do that during our shows here on typically on Tuesdays and Fridays. And we'd like to take questions during the manufacturer showcase on Thursdays. We've got X-Ray Echo 2 Zulu Zulu is on, and then also Kilo Oscar 5 Radio November is on, and our friend Scott from out in California, KA3 Delta Radio. Nice to have you on, Scott. Corey says that your customer service is awesome, one of the best companies out there to work with. Thanks very much, Corey. We're proud to have Dave and the rest of the team that is trying to help everybody we can have more fun with the best hobby in the world. And KO5RN says DX is a good company to deal with. And thank you very much for that. Also, Ray is saying hello to Tim and Dave. And Dawn is on from Philadelphia, Whiskey Juliet 3 United. And from Scotland, it's Ray, Golf Mike 0 Victor Radio Papa. And from Bavaria in Germany, Charlie's on, Delta Lima 6 Radio Delta Echo. And our friend Scotty, we have two NFEDs. We have two NFEDs that at times can outshine our beams. And that's from Whiskey Kilo 3 November, who never sleeps. And Scotty, great to have you on. Dan, WA4 Mike Oscar Mike from Kentucky. And Steve, November Alpha 5 Charlie. DXE is #1. Thank you, Steve, for that. Got to see Steve at Dayton this year. Dave, how many Hamventions have you been to?
I've been to every Hamvention except, of course, the COVID years since 1977. So whatever that is, that's what almost 40, I guess, or more than that, 50, almost 50, 40 some. I lost
Well,
track, right? I mean, it's just, always lived close enough. I was always within about a 2 or 3 hour drive. And when I was a kid, my dad always went, so I went with him, and then got in with the group and went with them. And just now I'm about less than an hour from the fairgrounds, and my wife knows that weekend that I'm going to Hamvention. So,
well, there isn't any better place on the planet than going to Hamvention in May. Certainly great to have you as part of the DX Engineering team, and then also enjoying the show as well. Dave, what's the new equipment that's piqued your interest? What are you looking forward to here with the new antenna and tower?
If I was probably going to buy something today, I'd probably lean towards an ICOM 7610, and that's probably will be whatever that series is at the time that I get ready to buy a new radio. That's probably what I'm going to look at. I've always been a fan of ICOM and the ergonomics of ICOM and all that stuff. Not that I have any complaints with the others. It's just I've always been drawn towards them. Currently, I'm using a Elecraft K3, and I told the wife when I got that I would use it for 10 years before I'd ever thought about buying another radio. Well, I've now been using it for 12, but I also don't see any reason to buy a new radio if I don't have all my antennas and stuff in order. So trying to get my priorities in line there first.
Well, and I know that you've advised our customers about this, that spending money and time on antennas is really the secret. All of the radios that are available today are really good. It doesn't matter where they are on the Sherwood list. They're all really, really good. I know our sales manager, Scott, N3RA, and along with Wayne, K8DV, and George, K8GP, all part of the DX engineering team, had really good luck on field day with the ASU FTDX10. And, it's one of those new high performance small radios that just does really, really well. So there are so many good radios, and depending upon your budget and the size, and even on the used market too, Dave, you've been around the horn, that there's a lot of good equipment out there on the used market. Let's go back to the chat room here for just a minute. Tom is on, November Golf 3 Quebec, always a great talk. And Frank is on, Kilo 5 Fox Juliet Alpha from Mississippi. And Bill, thanks for the great session. He's in California, and he always needs to learn more. That's Whiskey X-Ray 6 Bravo. I tell you, Bill, every day I learn something, whether it's from the DX engineering team or just listening on the air, or even looking at some of the chat rooms on the internet. From Costa Rica, it's Tango India 2 Alpha Lima Fox. So always nice to have on some DX there. And I know, Dave, you want to get your tower and antenna up to experience some of the best conditions that we're going to have for the next 11 years here during the sunspot peak.
That's absolutely right. And I'm disappointed that I haven't had the antennas and stuff up to really take full advantage of the opening. Although I have managed to catch a few decent openings, even with the off-center fed dipo, and filled in some new band slots on DXing and stuff like that. So it can be done. It just, you got to be a little bit more patient, and you got to sharpen your skills a little more.
And, that's a great thing to do. We all can sharpen our skills. And by having a little less antenna, you just have to out-operate and, be very creative. So I think that's really, really good advice. Dave, thanks so much for coming on today, and thanks so much for being a part of the DX engineering team.
Tim, I really appreciate the opportunity, and really appreciate all the folks and everyone at DX Engineering, as well as all of our customers. And thanks for giving me some time this afternoon.
All right, Dave. And thanks to all of you for watching. And if you have questions, you can always email us, dxengineering@dxengineering.com, or call in during the business day, and we'll do our best to help you have more fun with the best hobby in the world. Until the manufacturer showcase on Thursday, 73 from DX Engineering.
7-3.